Continental Airlines Arena. Call 1-888-RED DOGS. That's 1-888-RED DOGS. Be a part of this summer's sellout sensation by getting your ticket now. New Jersey Red Dog football. Back with more Bite.
92.3. He calls himself the king of all media.
Howard Stern.
The king of all media.
Howard Stern.
Who is a marketing genius.
This is the Howard Stern Show. The Howard Stern Show.
Howard Stern is proving that his vulgar and irreverent shtick is capturing America's attention.
Hey, what is this? Oh, it's just me. I'm back. All right, good. About time. Wait a second. I spent all Sunday just sitting at home on TV watching the Puerto Rican Day Parade. Did you do that?
I wasn't here, so...
Oh, my God.
I'll tell you, I couldn't get home through the Puerto Rican Day Parade.
Where were you?
I came in by train.
Where were you?
I was out of town.
Oh.
And, you get off at Penn Station. It took me an hour and a half to get from Penn Station to my house, which is also in Manhattan.
Yeah, the whole parade just shuts down Manhattan. They'd have it on a Sunday, but...
East side to the west side at all.
Because Seinfeld had an episode where Kramer stepped on the flag. NBC started airing the Puerto Rican Day Parade.
In its entirety, I think.
Nothing funnier than watching Chuck Scarborough. He was the guy covering it.
Oh, really?
He was like the whitest white guy in the country.
Yeah.
And he's like, wow, this is a wonderful, wonderful display. First of all, it's the worst parade you ever saw.
They say it was a spectacular, because I'm listening to the news trying to get home.
No.
They keep talking about this spectacular
No,
parade.
they're lying. Here's the truth. First of all, there's hardly any floats. There's no floats. There's no balloons, and there's no floats even. It's a bunch of Puerto Rican guys and girls walking down the street with a bunch of other Puerto Rican guys standing on the side watching them. You can't tell the difference between the people on the side and the people. There's no costumes.
It's just people walking down the street.
And I got to tell you, everybody in the parade really needed a walk because everyone was fat.
Well, I saw a lot of people, because now they were piling out of that area, I guess, around Fifth Avenue where they watched the parade.
Yeah.
They were wandering all over. And you saw a lot of people packing up cars with coolers, grills.
Well, that's because no one can stop eating for a second. I am telling you, I'm not saying this as on a whole because, people accuse me of stereotyping, but I'm saying for the most part, I was very concerned about the Puerto Rican people. Like Ralph called me. He was watching it too. He's like, can you believe this? He's like, I'm watching it too. Like, we couldn't stop watching it. And I was like, is everyone fat or am I just like hallucinating here? He goes, it's all the rice and beans that these people eat. They're eating a lot of rice and beans and it's carbs. I go, no, it's not rice and beans. If you eat a diet of rice and beans, you're not going to be fat. They must be putting tons of oil or something.
There must be some fat added, huh?
Wow, or they're eating a lot of McDonald's or whatever. And then, NBC went ahead and got two guys to interview everyone, these two Puerto Rican guys.
Yeah.
Which was really kind of weird because they weren't all that polished. Because every minute they were like, hey, we represent. Talking Latina like this. Hey, we represent. Hey, how you doing? Whenever someone Puerto Rican came up, they were like talking street. And then when a white guy would come up, they'd talk normal. Like
really?
English.
They could lapse back and forth.
Yeah, they were like, oh, hello, and now we have the mayor here. And then all of a sudden, like some rap group would come and go, yo, represent. Whatever the hell that means. Everyone was representing. It was a weird parade. And it was a lot of chubby chicks in some weird belly costumes.
They do a lot of spangly stuff. Everything's shiny.
Spangled with the belly, but a lot of these chicks are overweight. But then, toward the end, Jennifer Lopez was somewhere dancing to some music. Like, she was just off on her own little trip dancing by herself in a circle.
A float?
No float. I don't know where she was. But it was sexy as hell. And then, Rosie Perez showed up. I would have missed it, but nothing. And Chuck Scarborough was afraid to say anything wrong. He goes, I could listen to that voice all day. And I'm like, yeah, right. You could listen for 2 seconds.
That's why you're getting cotton in your ears.
And he's like, this is the most spectacular parade. It's just a wonderful... he goes, today everybody feels a little bit Puerto Rican. And I'm like, Chuck, you do not feel Puerto Rican at all. At all. Who are you lying to? Dude.
You're not eating some kind of meat that was skewered.
Yeah. You're sitting in the safe hole studio. Oh, it was too funny. And then there was the first Puerto Rican rap band.
Really?
if Puerto Rico's so great, why are you here?
They don't want to be there.
No.
It's good to be Puerto Rican, not to be there.
Oh, because each float had the name of a different Puerto Rican city. And I was like, you know what? You're too involved with Puerto Rico.
In fact,
And then what was weird
there was
was
a big downpour right like toward the end of the parade.
yeah.
And, you know, they were screaming about Kramer stomping on the parade,
Right.
on the flag. But everybody wrapped up in the flag with the rain.
Yeah, well, it's different if you're Puerto Rican. It's like a black guy calling people nigger. That's all right.
You can do whatever you want with the flag, just don't you do it.
Yeah, and the parade looks like thousands of people marching and looking for a parade. like they're marching to the parade. There is you cannot tell the difference between the people in the parade and the people standing on the sidelines.
Well, I'll tell you, I was coming home, I couldn't tell where the parade was because they were walking everywhere.
I defy you to know unless it's on TV and they show you. And then it got kind of weird because like people were just marching and walking around, and then a lot of congratulating one another on being in school. That was like a big deal. Like they would like white guys would come up and present money to Puerto Ricans for staying in school.
For staying in school.
Yeah, like, you know, like, we're here to, we're on behalf of the McDonald's Corporation. We'd like to give $1,500 to this young lady who's very impressive, has stayed in school.
That's impressive.
Yeah, like, you know, gee, I stayed in school. Nobody gave me any money. Well, you don't have it rough. And then a lot of these kids who grew up in this country were talking, and they talk like this, man.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, well, how did they get the accent? How is anyone going to assimilate? How's this kid going to get a job? It's like they're interviewing the kid. The kid's like, "Yo, man," he's like, "We got to go to the schools, man, and we got to change things, man. And you know what? We got to get the power, man. We're going to power the iron and hold the camera." And then it was just like this guy. But I thought he was like from Puerto Rico. He's from America,
Born right here.
and Rosie Perez started screaming too. She was like, you know, we got to get like they, you know, Rosie, where you go to appear next? She goes, I got 3 movies coming out in front of the camera, behind the camera. We got to seize the power. We got to seize the power. I was just like, oh. I love Rosie, man. But
Where was she born?
oh, no.
Great neck.
Great neck. Everyone's seizing the power. It was like a madhouse. They got to end these parades. There's too much ethnic pride.
Look, you don't even know the worst of it. I can't get home on Sundays because there's always a parade.
That is the worst of it, Robin. The thought of you not getting home.
Nobody has
Streets are blocked
a
off.
neighborhood anymore. You cannot move.
You're doomed. Yes, Big Black.
Mira.
Mira.
Man.
Yeah. He says he has tape. Go ahead. Let me hear Chuck Scarborough doing some commentary. You'll laugh at this.
Here we see people from La Mega dancing.
La Mega is one of the
Tell
cities.
you the influence that Hispanics are having, particularly in New York City, where 1 out of every 6 people is of Hispanic descent. Their morning show, which is called El Vacilón de la Mañana, is number 2 only to Howard Stern in his time slot. And it goes to show you these large numbers of people who are tuning into radio as well as television.
And they don't say anything rude.
All right, so wait a second. Stop it. So that's what's weird. Like, that's the point. Like, Chuck Scarborough's like, look how great Puerto Rican people are. Howard Stern is the number 1 broadcaster, but he's rude. But the Puerto Ricans are nice. And then, meanwhile, the woman goes, that's not true. Because you know what they're doing? They're just doing my show in Puerto Rican.
In Spanish.
Yeah, it's Spanish, whatever. But Chuck right away, oh, bad white people, good Puerto Rican people.
He wouldn't even, he's never heard these people.
Yeah, that's some newsman. Bad Howard Stern, like, he has to be rude. The Puerto Ricans
They
don't.
don't even say anything rude.
Yeah.
How you were watching when you said that?
Yep.
That was fine.
I was pissed. I was ready to call up NBC and complain. I was like, what do you mean? Wait a second. First of all, I'm competing with 60 English-speaking guys. That Spanish station's competing with nobody.
Yeah.
In Spanish, of course, they're number 2. And quite frankly, how do we know what they're saying? The FCC probably doesn't even know what the hell the Spanish stations are up to. Doesn't even know.
Probably Chris every 5 seconds, right?
Exactly.
Hey, Howard, did you see Jennifer Lopez dancing?
Yeah, that was sexy.
Oh, man.
Because Gary says to me he's got pictures of her. She got a big, giant, fat ass everyone's talking about. I know some guy in Hollywood was telling me the problem with Jennifer Lopez, the reason she doesn't get more work is she's got a great upper half, like from her waist
and then
up.
she has a big butt.
They're saying her butt is so big that like it's like a shelf and it's very hard.
Did you see that Selena movie?
No, I never did see
Oh
it.
my God, you have to see that.
Really?
Because, she's dancing around and they give you that top half and you go, wow. And then you pull back the camera and you keep pulling back and pulling back and pulling
Really?
back to get the rest of it in.
I Did you, hey, Big Black,
Yeah.
when she was dancing, did you think she was kind of hot?
Not kind of hot. If you ever have her at your show, you got to have me down there, man.
I know.
Please,
I mean,
she's gonna fall for you.
it was the sexiest little dance I ever saw.
She's with Puff Daddy. I think.
Howard,
Yeah.
rate her behind. What do you think it is?
I don't know.
No, I've seen her in person, and she looks great in person. It's just the photographs
Wait,
that
Howard, I'm going to tell you this. In Vanity Fair, there's a little pictorial of her, right?
Right.
She's wearing like this little mini dress, and she got big breasts, and she's like leaning forward, and her butt, is in the unfocused background.
Right.
She looks great. Very sexy,
Right,
look,
right.
sexy face, big breasts. For some reason, I don't know what publicist approved this picture. There's a picture where she's just wearing panties, but first of all, they look like a girdle.
Yeah.
And she's wearing high heels and panties, and she's standing against a wall. And not only is her ass huge, but there's a roll above the girdle.
Yeah.
I'm going to
On
show.
her
I just sent
belly?
an intern out for it.
She's got an ass the size of San Juan.
I'm going to show you this picture. I guarantee you.
But the Puerto Rican Day Parade, man, that's a weird thing, man. Everybody's like,
But Howard, let me ask you a question. You think her ass is too big?
I don't know. I got to see the pictures. Yesterday looked
Again,
fine.
I tell you, I saw her in person. Well, it was I was walking toward her, though I didn't see her from behind.
I
She looked good.
thought she looked great, but Gary says in these pictures she looks like she had about a dozen too many dog kebabs.
Man, she's got a perfect behind to me.
Yeah, well, you're a loser.
You,
All right, man. You got any more Chuck Scarborough clips?
He made a mistake on the air at one point. He was apologizing. Did you hear that?
No, let me hear that.
Being talked to in my headset, and when that happens, when the control room talks to me, I can't hear anything but what the control room is saying, and what they were telling me to do was to throw to a break. So I inadvertently interrupted Linda to throw to a break, and I apologize if I offended anybody who was paying attention there to what we were saying about the tragedy in Aguada. All right.
He was so afraid of making a mistake.
anything. He was like, I didn't mean to offend anyone if I just interrupted her because somebody was talking to me.
Yeah, I mean, he was so nervous because he's so white, and God forbid you make any
He's so
sort
wrong.
of.
Every white man is wrong.
Yeah, because it's like I'm sure when they wrote that Seinfeld thing, and it was funny that the flag ended up getting stepped on. There was nothing disrespectful about it. All of a sudden now Seinfeld's a bad show. So Chuck Scarborough's like they're trying in the worst way to please the Spanish people.
Man, I don't want to say anything wrong.
Plus, he knows that they can bring him a lot of ratings if he can win over the Spanish population.
But Howard, didn't they really overdo it with all those statistics?
Oh my God!
What were the statistics?
Well, they were trying to they were trying to talk about accomplishments and stuff, but it was all I don't know. It was very, very bizarre.
You could tell someone was just reading in their headset, and they was rattling off statistics.
Yeah, there was way too much information about Puerto Rico and not enough about hey, you're living here in America. Let's get with the program.
And yesterday I heard somebody referring to it as the National Puerto Rican Day Parade.
I don't know, but it was
Like it
really
represents Puerto Ricans all over the country. It's not just a New York thing. It's
representing.
national.
They were representing.
I
That
guess.
boy.
But I don't. It was just kind of distressing to see so many young children unable to speak without the accent.
Yeah.
It was just frightening to me. I was like, well, what's going on in the schools? What's going on at home? Don't the parents want their kids to assimilate?
Education.
Yeah, it's a big mistake, man. That's what
why
it
they
pointed
just
out.
got rid of it in California.
Yeah, and 50, one after another, white guys just handing out money for kids staying in school. It's like, you know what, man? If you don't want to stay in school, if someone's going to pay you to stay in school, and forget it.
But some of them come over here as little kids, too.
Well, okay, that I understand. It's hard to get rid of an accent when you've grown up somewhere else, but I got a feeling a lot of these kids are growing up right here. I'm telling you.
Could be.
All right, later, dude. Hey, I heard about this. I heard that Warner Wolf's dentures fell out during a newscast, and here's somebody. Yeah, I heard about this.
Really?
Hey, Brad.
Yes, Howard.
This is what I heard. I was talking to some guy on Saturday. He told me that Warner Wolf was doing the news. He was doing some kind of story. What was the subject?
He was going into the horse racing.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, his dentures fell out.
Fell.
Did you see them fall out?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, literally out of his mouth.
Out of his mouth.
They didn't come out of his mouth completely. They just came out a little bit.
They slipped.
They slipped, and it was just the funniest thing. He couldn't talk.
He couldn't talk. And did they reference it at all, or they just
No, I mean, I think it was like Michelle Mar. No, I don't know who the woman was. They were stunned. I mean, it was like deer in headlights.
Right. They didn't know what to do. I heard about this.
Oh, that's funny.
If anybody's got tape of it, I'd love to see it.
Who knew he had dentures till now?
Yeah, I mean, what do you?
About 97, so I mean.
He looks
That doesn't
100.
mean you have to lose your teeth.
It is distressing to see Warner. Anybody who grew up in New York and knew Warner Wolf as a young man, and then you see him now, and it's pretty distressing.
Yeah.
Aging really sucks. I was reading.
And he looks like he shrunk.
Yeah. We ran into him over at the Reebok Center. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember he walked in. We were like, "Hey, you look like Warner Wolf," and he goes, "I am Warner Wolf." He looked like a monkey from Oz, didn't he? Like one of the monkeys.
Hey, put some wings on that dude.
Yeah. And in the middle of talking, his dentures just flew out of his mouth, and nobody knew what to do. It was like Panic City.
He goes, okay, I can't talk right now. Just a second.
Yeah.
And then he go under the desk, push his teeth back
Oh,
in?
luckily they went to tape.
Yeah, while he adjusted his dentures.
Oh, man.
Grandpappy.
I guess that polygrip slipped.
Isn't that funny? I got to get paid with it. I heard these two guys talking about it. I said, they got to be wrong.
That really happened.
Yeah. Hey, you're on the air. This is Richie.
Hey, how you doing
All
there,
right.
Howard?
Yeah.
Yeah, Richie Torres from the Bronx representing.
That's what the Puerto Rican Day Parade was like.
Yeah, that's what it was like.
And I said, I know if I knock the Puerto Rican Day Parade, everyone's going to come down on me and say I'm a racist and all this. But come on,
I don't
man.
understand why you didn't understand what Jennifer Lopez was doing. She was on the bandstand dancing over there. That
Was
was
she?
okay with Mark Anthony, 68th Street.
I told you I dug that.
I know, so, no big deal.
All right.
What I really want to
What
talk
was
to you
she
about is why you're
dancing
not
to?
going to Melissa Rivers' wedding.
You know that music that Puerto Rican guys
I
like.
mean, was there a band there?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a band. Mark Anthony was there. How you doing, Robin? Good to talk to you live.
Thank you.
God bless you.
All right, you-
Anyway, I really want to talk to you about Melissa Rivers' wedding. Why are you not going?
Well, I don't know, man. It just seems weird.
Joan is a friend.
It's not weird.
She's a
It's like
friend of the
press
show.
junket
I don't
for you.
socialize.
Come on.
I don't socialize with Joan Rivers and her
Yes, you
daughter.
did. Come on. She
You
made a
did go
show
to her
for you.
house
She had a
once.
show
She would
completely
invite you
for
again.
I gotta tell you
completely
something.
for you. a
My
couple years ago.
daughter had like a bat mitzvah, right?
Yeah.
And like, my wife said, "Well, do you want to invite people like Joan Rivers and friends of yours?" And I went, "You know what? These people aren't my friends." I said, "If I'm not in
She was a
show,
great friend to you.
can
Howard. She
you
did a whole
stop?"
show for you. She gave you.
Oh, I gotta cut him off. Guy's an ass. You know, here's the deal. I said to my wife, I said, "Look, I said the reason I'm not going to do that is that's totally tacky. It's like this is a day about our family and stuff and celebrating something. What's it got to do with people who barely know me? In a work situation, they come on my show because they need to get access to my audience to sell stuff." And it's a reciprocal relationship. We like each other. We'll call each other once in a while if we have a show business type question or something, and it's very nice. But I don't know these people. They don't care about me. If my radio show went off tomorrow, I'm never going to hear from them again. That's the bottom line. There are your friends, and there are people who just kind of like, are guests of the show. I mean, I'm able to make that distinction, and once I can't, and once that line gets blurred.
There's also a thing called material.
I hear you. I understand that. But I got to tell you something. The line gets awfully blurred. It's like, Rosie O'Donnell has a birthday party for her daughter or her son or whatever she adopted.
Whatever she has, yes.
Well, whoever got into that.
Strangers that live in her
Yeah, the two strangers who live in her house have nothing to do with her biologically. And like, she's inviting celebrities, people she barely knows. She's so desperate to only have famous people in her life that it strikes me as somewhat pathetic. And
well, this isn't something you're doing. You were invited.
I know. I don't know. Melissa Rivers should have a private day where she marries some guy she loves.
She didn't want that, obviously, because she decided to have this kind of wedding.
I think Joan's putting her up to this. I really do. You know what I mean? Between you and me. And I know. And then the other thing that bugs me is my wife really wants to go.
That bugs you.
That bugs me.
Why does that?
Because I shouldn't be married to somebody who really wants to go to Joan. I told my wife, I want you to be aghast. I want you to be horrified that someone would invite
ridiculous.
us. She goes, "No, I think it'd be fun." And I go, "Oh, I don't want that. You are not allowed to think that." That's what I tell her. You're not allowed to think that.
Get over it.
We're not friends. We're friendly, me and Joan Rivers. That's what I told my
We're
wife.
not saying you have to sit there and schmooze with Joan Rivers. You're just going to the wedding. It's a party.
I'm not going anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. We'll see. Hey, there's tons of people on the phone.